good morning, and thank you for joining us here for Live Impact News on 13 News Now Plus. My name is Eugene Daniel, and we appreciate you for joining us, whether you're on our app or if you are watching us live on YouTube right now. We're based in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Joining me in studio right now, producer Sarah Calloway, as we are monitoring what is going on regionally, statewide, and across the country. Of course, a few big stories that are happening across the world right now are just tragedies that have taken place. One, Brown University was struck with tragedy as a shooting took place over the weekend, killing 2, injuring 9 others as a gunman entered a lecture hall during a study session. We're going to have more on that soon into the investigation and why police released someone in custody overnight. And then also we're taking a look there at video from Australia that says 2 gunmen opened fire on Bondi Beach on the opening night of Hanukkah, killing people as part of a Jewish festival there. 15 people died, 40 others were injured during that event, as others are still being treated in a hospital. We're going to have much more on that as well, the suspects, the survivors, and hearing from officials in that situation. But first, we do want to get to this in our region of Hampton Roads. It is just brutally cold. We are in a weather impact alert here today in our region because of those frigid temps and with the wind chills making it feel in the single digits. We have a few different shots pulled up across our region to kind of pull from. Now, that is a beautiful shot of the ocean front there in Virginia Beach, but I tell you what, it's cold out there. We had our Brianna Fallon, reporter on Daybreak, out and about throughout the area. In particular, she was down by the ocean front for some time, and you could just see how powerful the winds were. And that wind, toppled with the temperatures, hitting your face, that is a recipe for disaster. It is not pleasant at all. And so there is a winter weather advisory for people definitely with these cold temperatures to be mindful of not only being outdoors for an extended period of time, but making sure that you are layering up, particularly also on your travel. Okay, one of the really cool things that Brianna did when we were taking our hits earlier today is that she poured water on the ground, and you could just see how quickly, within a matter of minutes, that water began to freeze over, okay? And that is kind of the issue that we were facing this morning in certain areas across our region. If you are driving, as we take a live look now in Norfolk, overseeing Nauticus, again, beautiful sights, great picture, Sarah. But the picture there, maybe if you're not a meteorologist, don't tell the full story. If you go outside, you will feel it. It will hit you in the face almost immediately. And again, for travelers, the driving as well, that is an issue too for people in certain spots. If you see something that's wet, you want to be mindful that it could potentially ice over. One person who was here to tell us all about it, and it was interesting, because he had a bit of an experiment on Daybreak today, too, had us worried for a little bit this morning because meteorologist Craig Muller, he just came in. He's getting things set up. He's been a busy man this morning.
We're good.
He's been a busy man. But, dude, so you took a T-shirt, a wet T-shirt, outside this morning on Daybreak. You put it out. You thought it would take longer than what it did to freeze over. And then you almost got stuck outside.
So funny stuff, all right? I mean, this is just shows you, full disclosure, what kind of stuff actually goes on here. You just see the stand in front of the camera, deliver the forecast, and everything's good. I go out there, I'm like, fun experiment. We're going to take a wet T-shirt, put it outside, see how long it takes to freeze. I've done this before. It's really a cool thing. It's kind of like, think about overstarching a shirt and then really, really overstarching a shirt. I go out there, and the first thing I'm like, okay, well, let me wet this thing down, and I start to put it up. I was going to hang it over a metal fence. Well, what happens when you touch something wet to metal when that metal's like 19, 20 degrees?
It's going to get stuck.
Yeah, think about A Christmas Story with him daring to touch his tongue to the flagpole. And I can't hug, because you got, anyway. So that's what happened at first with the T-shirt. I was like, oh, wait, it's starting to stick. And it was getting caught up in barbed wire. So I'm trying to pull this thing off. Anyway, I'm realizing, Craig, you big dummy. Come on. Don't put it on something metal. You'll never get it in. So the smart guy that I am, I go out there and I take this plastic caution wet sign and I'm going to put it over that. And as I'm bumbling and taking all this stuff out, I hear the door go clump behind me. I don't have the key access to the station. I'm stuck outside. Sarah, it is like 19 degrees out there at the time. Not a good time to be outside with no hat, no gloves, only your light.
It's terrible, actually.
Look at Sarah's
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Sarah, thank you for your compassion, Sarah. All right.
Sarah, before you get started, though, let me tell you from my quick vantage point, really quickly. Craig is trying to get indoors. We're at the top of the show at this point, and all Marta and myself can hear in our IFB, which are our earpieces that we're all able to communicate with. We hear the slamming of a door and Craig trying to catch his breath to join us in the studio.
As I come running back in, and I'm thinking, okay, what's loaded on the weather computer? I don't know. So anyway.
It happens. We've all locked ourselves out on accident at
Not
some
in
point or
15-degree weather because you were trying to hang a wet T-shirt.
Saying they're shaking the door. Somebody let me back in. So I was like, Craig, you've just gone from brilliant to really brilliant with that move. But anyway, so we got the T-shirt. It took, to answer your question, Eugene, in about 5 minutes at 20 degrees, what was a wet T-shirt became frosty. It became stiff in some areas and had, ice in it. You could feel it. Within 5 to, say, 6 or 7 minutes, by the time I went back out there, right around 8 or 9 minutes, it was frozen solid. And at that point, you feel like you could have cracked the shirt.
You brought it into the studio on air, and it had literal icicles falling from it that were frozen.
Yeah, it didn't take long. And Brianne Fallon went out, and Brianna went out there and dumped some water on the ground, and it froze almost immediately. We have like what we call flash freezing when it's even colder, and it, anything that's wet automatically freezes instantly. It was about that cold in some places this morning. So very, very cold. We can look at temperatures right now, and here we are at just 10 after 10. We have air temperatures in the mid-20s, and that's the case from Suffolk to Virginia Beach, Newport News to Hampton. Wind chills this morning were in the single digits. As we take a look at the winds gusting around out there, we still have some gusts around 24 miles per hour up at Wallops. Whoop, it just zoomed in there. Extreme close-up. As we look down to the south, I'm going to center this up a little bit. I'll show you a few more. Virginia Beach earlier was looking at gusts around 25. They have not reported one at Oceana that high recently. Portsmouth, Duck Pier, 20 to 25. So you've got those winds. It's still feeling very cold. The feels like temperatures in the teens, but it's not quite as bad as what we saw coming in early this morning and throughout that morning commute. Bitter cold. Now, here's the good stuff. It is going to change, okay? We are going to find the temperatures warming over the coming days. Wind chills through the afternoon will be in the upper 20s to near 30. So the reason for that, not because it's dramatically warmer. It won't be. Highs today only in the low 30s, but the winds get lighter, and then those feels like temperatures come up pretty quickly. So with lighter wind later this afternoon, upper 20s to near 30, we can deal with that. Temperatures this evening, if you've got some Christmas shopping or holiday shopping you're going to tend to this evening, maybe you're meeting somebody for dinner, know that as we go about this evening, back into the low 20s with those wind chills. So once again, quite chilly for the evening. Looking ahead to tomorrow, temperatures are going to be warming a little bit. I think we're going to see high temperatures getting back up, I'd say close to say 43 or so tomorrow, low to mid 40s. We are going to be dry, more sunshine coming up tomorrow. It's going to be beautiful. As we zoom in and take a look, again, you can see some of those clouds offshore. You guys know when you see streaks of clouds like that and it's cold out there, that is basically an indication that those very frigid northwest winds are blowing over relatively warm sea surface temperatures, picks up some of that low-level moist air. And what happens with warm air, moist air? It rises. Yep. All right. And then it condenses. You get the temperatures lowering to the dew points, the vapor in the air condenses and you get those streaks of clouds. This is that bay effect, snow, or the lake effect, or, what we would here in this case call ocean effect, because it's the same thing. Cold air blowing across the warm sea surface temperatures. You've got the clouds offshore. So that's what's happening right there, an indication that we do have a frigid northwest wind. Temperatures through the afternoon, upper 20s by noon, and then afternoon temperatures, low 30s. Dew points, again, going to be pretty low, so it's a very dry, low-level atmosphere. You may be needing to put on that lotion. We talked about that last week. When the air temperatures are so cold, it can't hold a lot of moisture. That's why your skin dries out like it does. As we go through the day tomorrow, though, we turn a corner, southwest winds, and temperatures up lower to mid-40s. Now, that's still a good 10, 11, 12 degrees below normal. But compared to yesterday afternoon and what we saw this morning and today, it's going to feel better tomorrow. After that, look at Wednesday. Wednesday, we're back up, starting off with temperatures in the lower 30s, reaching highs in the low to mid 50s. I'm digging that. That is average. So we're going to be, more than 20 degrees warmer tomorrow, getting back to, warmer than today. By Wednesday, it gets warmer. All right, after that, chances for showers late Thursday, but Thursday's high close to 60. Today, we're going to leave that weather impact alert for the very cold conditions this morning. And by noon, we'll take it down. Mostly sunny. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just bundle up. It's just a little friendly reminder. It's really cold out there. Lows tonight near 25, and then tomorrow back up to 43. So we are trending up. And the rest of the 7-day forecast, temperatures close to 60 by Thursday. Chance for a few showers Thursday night into Friday, some scattered wet weather, and then cooler behind a front, 48 on Saturday, 59 on Sunday. Looking forward to it.
I was going to say earlier when I was looking at the 10-day or what you put out there for the temperatures over the next few days, I was like, okay, good, because you can only go up from here.
Right.
And I don't want to jinx myself because even though this is, we've been talking about the coldest kind of chill temp that we've been feeling, I just feel like I'll say that, and then sometime in a week and a half, 2 weeks from now, it'll dip even lower, and then I will have to come back and eat my words today. Because I tell you what, Craig, when I walked outside today, and I don't know what it was like for you coming in from Virginia Beach, Sarah, but Craig and I talked about it. It was immediate. I wanted to snap my fingers. It was immediate where I knew the difference, right? I'd been outside each of the past few days. We've had snow days within the last 10 or so days, but it was immediate when I walked out this morning how different it was in terms of how cold it was. And my car it didn't struggle, but it kind of hesitated a little bit to get started this morning. And I'm like, oh, okay, reminder, this is the kind of time we're on.
Mine did too.
Yeah.
I turned it on. I was like, oh, no, that does not sound
today.
Good.
It's a different level. It's a different level of cold. When you think about it, in order to get snow, and you can get snow when it's a little colder, like low to mid-20s, but it's very fine, almost more like ice crystals and snowflakes when it gets that cold. Typically, you find snow occurring in a sweet spot, typically upper 20s to about 31, 32, sometimes 33 or 34. But that chances are best for snow when you're in the upper 20s to near 30, generally speaking. All right. This morning, we're in the teens, so it's almost, too cold for snow, and that's technically not right. But, in terms of how it typically is, you get temperatures into the teens. You rarely have snow, certainly nothing significant because of the ice crystals. It's more spindly, and it's typically lighter because the air capacity to carry that moisture is lower. Now, I do want to show you guys very quickly. I'll pull this up because, Gene, you were talking about that extended outlook. Here's the 10-day outlook, and you can see today low 30s, tomorrow, Tuesday, 44, up to 53, 61 there on Thursday, and temperatures staying in the 50s for highs. So we don't have any super, super cold weather anticipated after today and tomorrow, right on through Christmas. And we were talking about this as well, the 8 to 14-day outlook. Look at that, above normal for much of the southeastern and southern U.S., right on through the mid-Atlantic as we look forward through December 29th. So we'll take that 8 to 14-day outlook, still calling for warmer than normal conditions. That's when you average the highs and the lows. So really cold.
Craig, we appreciate you coming through, man. It was really a good idea, though, to bring in that demonstration this morning.
Kind of drove it home,
T-shirt.
didn't it?
It really did.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was the speed of it all, too, that I think hopefully people took away from it, is that you don't need to be outside that long if you're not covered, especially if you're, I can't imagine you would go outside in these temperatures wet anyway.
No.
You know what I mean? But, those are the type of things, and we started talking about even on Daybreak in the conversation now with some of the organizations and the work that they're doing for those who are unhoused.
Yeah.
If you think about these temperatures and you don't have a roof over your head, or you're staying outdoors, you're living outdoors, this is where that danger really kicks in. And there are a few shelters that are scattered across Hampton Roads that are trying to provide that shelter, that emergency shelter for people because of this. I mean, I know we're having fun, but there's a serious nature to it.
It is so important, okay? And again, one of the reasons I did that demonstration, and you could see it if you follow me on Instagram, you'd find it, I think it's Craig Moeller TV, I think, or 13 Craig Moeller. You'll be able to figure that out. But I actually have that video posted where you can see exactly how things went with that shirt. But I did that thinking, how many times do people rush out the door with a wet head? It's like, oh, I showered, I'll dry my hair, let it dry on the way to work or whatever. If you're caught outside with a wet head and it's as cold as it is out there, you can literally get ice forming in your hair on the ends. I mean, it can be that kind of cold. When you talk about the unhoused, people that need shelter, this is very, very serious. And I would go so far as to say, check on neighbors. We talk about this when it's super hot outside, checking on folks that may not have adequate AC. There are folks that can lose power or lose heating in their homes, and you may not realize how cold it gets. Once folks suffer hypothermia, they can get into big trouble. You nod off, you become sluggish or lethargic. It is a serious situation. So if you do live in a neighborhood and there might be somebody that's vulnerable or at risk, not a bad idea to just check on them, make sure they made it through in good shape last night. And really, when you are leading up to these types of events, it's good to check in maybe a day or so early. Make sure, just be a good neighbor. Say, hey, you got everything? You got a good heater, you got blankets or whatever they may need to try to stay warm. It really does take a community kind of looking out for each other.
Yeah, Craig. And by the way, for those who do want to see that video demonstration of Craig and the shirt, his ad is simple. It is Craig Moeller TV.
Okay.
Craig Moeller TV on Instagram. That's where you can see that for sure. And Craig, just because you mentioned power, people losing power, that's also been an issue this morning. Sarah, if we can take Scan PC here real quick, and I'm navigating it at the moment. But you can tell, look down here, now near the Outer Banks, you got more than 500 people who are currently without power. Now, Craig, I want to ask you this because of the positioning. Earlier today, we had Brianna, who was near the water. And that, to me, I'm just an average viewer that's looking in. The wind seemed a lot stronger this morning at that point. Now, they're saying it's an equipment problem. We don't know what caused it, but we know sometimes wind can be a factor when it comes to people losing power.
So you have a few things going on. And again, I don't know the specific cause of that.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's something as easy as a transformer issue or whatever. But when we have precipitation coming through like we did yesterday, a lot of rain down that way initially. We had rain and snow. A lot of times we'll talk about the problem, and I know Dominion Energy really braces for severe icing events. They will stage crews and have everybody ready to go. But sometimes it just takes a little bit of moisture freezing on some of those lines. Then you get the winds blowing and those lines are heavier, maybe sagging, coming into contact with things. There can be any number of reasons. And again, we're not saying that's why they're having that. But I will say down at the Outer Banks, temperatures down that way were bitterly cold as well. Low 20s this morning. That doesn't happen down there a lot. So it wouldn't shock me to find out that maybe there was some weather tied to some of this. But again, I can't say, we don't know.
Well, that's one area that we're looking. You can see that crosses the Outer Banks area from the Virginia and the North Carolina side there. So you're seeing, again, around 530
down around
people.
Knott's Island?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see about 530 people are without power in that region, just when we look at it. Earlier, we saw some issues in the Red Mill area. Let's see, there looks like there still appears to be a little bit, about 200 people out right there in the Red Mill area. You can see there. They're also saying it was an equipment problem, Dominion Energy, in that region. And Sarah, I know you're familiar with that particular area.
Just a quick shout out to the men and women that work the lines too. We talk about this a lot during hurricane coverage and, specific winter storm response. These crews are out there and they're giving of their time. I know it's a job, but it's got to be almost a calling in some cases because they are out there in tremendous conditions. Yes, it's sunny right now, but folks out working those outdoor lines or, addressing those outdoor power situations, they are in bitterly, dangerously cold temperatures this morning, and it is not easy. So, again, it's one of those things we obviously quick and rightly so thank first responders and emergency folks all the time. Mm-hmm. But for those that take care of our utilities and services, a big shout out to them too. Again, a lot of those folks doing community service that is so vital.
And they've been working really, really, really fast. I mean, this right here in the Compostela, Berkeley area, this region, all of this was impacted earlier, just maybe 2 hours ago. And so now they've gotten it down to 16 people out. Again, equipment problems. So I'm seeing the theme here. Again, we don't know exactly what caused these issues. We just got a few there, it looks like, in the Newport News and Hampton area, 20 out there. But
one other quick,
that.
I'm sorry to step on you there, Eugene. I didn't mean to do that. But one other thing that just while we're talking about the power outages, folks in winter when it gets this cold sometimes look for alternative ways to heat their homes and sometimes can try to get creative. Do not use a gas stove to try to heat your house. Yeah. We cover stories like this, unfortunately. Every year, not always here in Hampton Roads, it might be across the region, certainly across the country. Every year we have tragedies occur because people make poor decisions trying to heat their homes. Maybe they don't have, they're trying to light some kind of a fire inside, or they don't have cleaned out chimneys, or they use the gas range as opposed to other safer heating methods, and they get into trouble. So just please, please, please use extra caution. And know this, we do have, again, warmer air coming. We just need to get through this chilly morning. And it's going to be cold again tonight. Not as cold, but still obviously chilly with temperatures back in the mid-20s. It's going to be cold tonight as well. So just use extra caution.
And I just want to show one more, Craig, that I discovered as you were sitting there talking. And this is for our folks who are up in Gloucester, in that part of the region. You got another about 575 or just under 600 who are currently without power there. And those are customers, so that could be more people, could be, but those are just the numbers that we're looking at right now. And so this is something we wanted to monitor because of the temps. Again, we can't say that it's because of the cold temperatures, but certainly Dominion Energy was prepared ahead of today because of what we were expecting. And so they are wanting us to be on the radar, letting people know. And if you are experiencing any form of outage, really simple, something that they want you to do, I'll click on it for you. You want to go ahead and report that on the Dominion Energy outage map. You can find that online at their website. That way they can know the issue. If you're unable to do that, you can also call. That number is listed right there, 866-366-4357. They want you to do that as quick as you can so that they can come out and address your issue as fast as they can, especially if you're without power in this type of condition. All right, Craig, anything else for us to know as we tackle the rest of the day? Carpe diem, trying to keep warm.
Stay warm.
Anything else,
mean, that is it. And again, don't think that this is, it's just typical cold. It hasn't been. Just a quick personal note. I don't typically, I'll sit here on air all day and say, you make sure you have this and this and this and this and this. And when it's time for me, I'll be like, I got this. Take off, I don't need a hat. I'll be good. I'm a tough guy. I've been out in Chicago, Detroit, all these different places that I've lived. New Jersey, I know cold. All right, this morning it was so cold, I actually wore in a winter coat. Said, you know what, this isn't going to cut it, even for short runs out to the car and from the parking lot and whatever else. So this is a type of cold from time to time. It is so cold that you do need to take those precautions. So we're not just saying it. It's beautiful. You look outside, the sun will help a little bit, but it's definitely cold. If you're working out, maybe you're going to the gym, even think about bundling up. Post-workout, you got a sweat going, your core temperature's up. Make sure you don't get caught out there because it is the type of cold that can lead to other issues.
I think those are wise words, Craig. And so, as you heard him say, if it is cold for him, it is cold for you. And I already knew that.
I'm not messing
I didn't
with
need that lecture, but someone's like, someone might
let me
need
tell you.
it.
I got it. Okay. You know,
that I know.
The funny thing, our co-anchor in the morning, Ashley Smith, she was off this morning. Normally, I give Ashley a hard time because she'll come in all bundled up with like the full, the full Downy jacket and all of the fur and everything.
You wouldn't be making fun of her today.
I'd be like, Ashley, you are justified. And she's so smart. She's like, I'm taking the day off.
Oh man, yes, she's somewhere at home, warm and cozy, and sleeping in a little bit, unless the twins didn't let her. So somewhere screaming Robert, her husband. All right, Craig, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And you said that we're expecting to take down the weather impact alert around noon.
Yeah,
right?
before noon, we'll take it down, maybe 11 o'clock. But at any rate, going up through the remainder of the morning, just know it's still really cold.
Okay. All right, Craig, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. All right, at the top, I told you that we did have a lot of things that we were monitoring today, and we're looking at a few tragedies that have taken place across the world, right? We have two mass shootings that have taken place, one at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, the other in Australia. We're going to start in Brown University, where right now we know that there have been 2 people killed, 9 injured after a gunman entered into a lecture hall on Saturday during a study session and then just started shooting. A person of interest was taken into custody on Sunday. However, that person has since been released and cleared of any connection to the case. That means there is still a manhunt underway as we speak right now as to who is responsible for this shooting on this college campus. We have an interview with a student. I do believe it's actually a teacher's assistant who was in that classroom when those shots started to go off. We want to listen to him as he details his account of what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, we just finished up our last review session of the year. And then we ended a little bit late. It ended around like 4:03. And I was giving my closing remarks. And then as soon as everybody stood up and started exiting the room, we heard what sounded like gunshots outside the door. And we heard screaming from various students. And then about 5 seconds later, we see a gunman enter the room, and then he just screamed something and just started shooting. I was standing in the front of the auditorium, and he came through the back, so we pretty much directly made eye contact. And then as soon as that happened, I looked at my students and signaled them to come to the front, and then I just ducked. He came in, pointed the gun, and then he screamed something. I don't know what he said, and none of the other students know what he said. But then he just started shooting right after that. So from that moment to the first gunshot, it was probably around 5 to 7 seconds. The first couple gunshots went straight to the chalkboard, exactly where I was standing. So who knows, if I didn't duck, maybe I'm not here today. That's something we don't know. As soon as he started shooting, I just wanted to make sure that the rest of the students and I were safe. And then from the time that transpired, I made sure to call 911 and DPS, and I tried to let them know the situation, but with it still being extremely fresh and it honestly feeling like super unreal, I couldn't really explain any real details other than that we were in the room of Bearson Holly 166, and I was with around 20 students hiding behind that desk. So it was mostly just mumbling, trying to get as much help as I can. So the desk is probably a length of around 10 feet or so, and we all just hid behind it as best as we could. There wasn't too much space, but we made do because at the end of the day, we just all wanted to survive. There was actually a girl who was sitting right next to me. She had 2 bullets in her legs, and she's currently at the hospital right now. I left the hospital yesterday, so I don't know her exact status, but I gave her a call yesterday, and she was in good spirits. And I know her surgery is taking place this morning, so I'm just praying that her surgery goes well. Honestly, my heart just goes to the students that didn't make it out that room, and the students that are in the hospital right now. I haven't really had the chance to process things myself, but I just want to make sure everybody else is okay. I happened to see some things that I wish I didn't, but I just hope that it was for a reason and I'm able to help the detectives.
You were just listening to him give his account of his experience there as a gunman opened fire at Brown University. And again, we are faced with the situation, Sarah, of some form of gun violence on a school campus. Just according to data that CNN analyzed between the Gun Violence Archive, Education Week, and Everytown for Gun Safety, which tracks gun violence, particularly within schools and elsewhere across the country, there have been at least 75 school shootings in the United States so far this year. That was at least as of Saturday. 43 were on college campuses, 32 were on K-12 school grounds, and at least 31 people that died, more than 100 victims were injured. And so when you think about that throughout just this year alone and the conversations that we've been having for years now, here is another example of that taking place here within our country. And one of the interesting things that has been reported, Sarah, there are multiple students who attended Brown University who were on campus when this happened, who were either previously a victim of a school shooting. One young woman who had been shot in high school in California and had become a anti-gun violence advocate. She was on that campus. And then also the son of Louisville's mayor was also there. He not a victim, but at one point his family directly impacted by an attempted assassination attempt. So now you're looking at that in this moment where that's just 2 accounts of individuals who have some form of direct previous connection to gun violence or some form of gun violence on the school campus and reliving it for the second time at a place in which in their minds, in their families' minds, they're supposed to be safe. I also want to now cue up the press conference in which we got our latest information from the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, who spoke for several minutes over the weekend, just yesterday night, speaking on what they know. There had been some reports that were out there that was giving conflicting information, and they wanted to clarify that. People believe that there was a suspect who was in custody in large part because something that had been tweeted by the president as well at one point, and he has since taken that down. And so you have just different things that were going out there on social media too. So this is the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, speaking for several minutes, I think about 14 or so, about what they know happened, the response, and what the next steps will be for city officials, the university, and all of the law enforcement involved in trying to figure out who did this.
Good evening. I'm Providence Mayor Brett Smiley. In just a moment, we'll hear from Rhode Island's Governor Dan McKee. Then we'll ask for comments and an update from Attorney General Peter Nerona, followed by Colonel Oscar Perez, Chief of the Providence Police Department. Shortly, we will be releasing the person of interest who had been detained earlier today, and the Attorney General can speak a little bit about the rationale for that. But we want to inform the community that that individual will shortly be released from Providence Police. We know that this is likely to cause fresh anxiety for our community. And we want to reiterate what we said earlier, which remains true, which is ever since the initial call, now a day and a half ago, we have not received any credible or specific threats to the Providence community. And so the status of safety in our community remains unchanged. And we believe that you remain safe in our community, though we will continue to have an enhanced police presence throughout the city and on the Brown campus. We are once again encouraging anyone who thinks that they might have relevant information to assist with our ongoing investigation to please provide it. These are the same resources that were asked earlier, but to share them once again. You can upload video or photos to the special FBI website created for this incident, which is fbi.gov/Brown University shooting. That's fbi.gov/Brown University shooting, or call the Providence Police non-emergency number of 401-272-3121. Our investigation into this horrific act remains ongoing. It has been ongoing. And I know there's been some frustration from members of the community and others about the language that we've been using about the person of interest and such, and that speaks to directly the fact that this investigation was and continues ongoing, and we will continue to endeavor to not confirm any information that is not yet confirmable. And that is how we can best be transparent with all the members of our community to share the best information that we have. I'd like to invite the governor to say a few words, and then we'll hear from the Attorney General specifically with regard to the individual.
Mayor, thanks. So our position stays the same. The safety of the people in the state is a top priority. The response, an all-in response from the state relative to any of the issues that impact the Brown University or the people who are impacted by this act of violence. And I will continue to tell you that our Colonel Weaver will be here shortly, and we will continue to have a full amount of effort from the state side and the state police. And in addition to that, I just got off the phone with the mayor, with Director Kash Patel, with the FBI, and he also, because I wanted to make sure that he was fully aware of this press event, and he was, and he also committed to continue to bring the resources of the federal government into this case. So right now, it's about the safety of the people that live in the state, that is in the Providence area. The state of Rhode Island will continue to provide all our resources to support the city, the mayor, as well as Brown University and the community at large in the area of Brown University. In addition to that, making sure that we keeping the people safe in the state of Rhode Island. Mayor.
General.
Thank you, Mayor, Governor. I want to share with the people of the state of Rhode Island what this investigation looks like, where we are today, where I anticipate it moving forward. So last night, I wish you could have been with me in the command post where there were literally dozens of Providence police officers working to develop leads in this very difficult case. Difficult, obviously, because of the tragedy that occurred on the campus, but also difficult in terms of developing evidence. That work continues, and it will continue tomorrow. Our prosecutors were there, 6 in total. Our victim services folks were at the hospital. But this is what these investigations look like. I've been around long enough to know that sometimes you head in one direction and then you have to regroup and go in another. And that's exactly what has happened over the last 24 hours or so. Collectively, the team developed leads in a number of areas. One was chased to ground. It led to us detaining a person of interest. And so those words and how we choose those words when we're talking about an investigation matter. And what it means here is that certainly there was some degree of evidence that pointed to this individual, but that evidence needed to be corroborated and confirmed. And over the last 24 hours, leading into just very, very recently, that evidence now points in a different direction. So what that means is that this person of interest needs to be and should be released. I think what is really unfortunate that this person's name was leaked to the public. It's hard to put that back in the bottle, okay? So we're going to proceed very carefully here. There is too much at stake for the victims of this horrific crime and their families to take chances with respect to this investigation. What I anticipate seeing going forward is that our team of prosecutors will be working with the Providence Police Department as the principal leads in this investigation. We will have our resources amplified by the state police, by the FBI, by the ATF, by the DEA, by the Marshal Service, and others as we develop leads and move towards justice in this case. But this could happen very quickly, but it could take some time. And so I'm going to ask the public to be patient with us as we continue to work through the facts in this case. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend Oscar Perez. I've known a long time, worked a lot of cases with Chief Perez. He's terrific. He's leading a great team here. Again, I wish you could have seen the work the other night. We have not yet solved this case, but I'm confident we're going to do that. And I'm confident we're going to do that in the very near future. So, Chief Perez?
Thank you, General. Yeah, and good evening. We're here again today, obviously, I'm going to reiterate what the General just stated, as well as the Mayor. This person of interest will be released. And I want to make sure that we all understand that this was a very complex investigation, and it still is. So in the sense, we followed on a lead, and we followed on this specific lead, but we're able to examine every single evidence that led us to this individual. And at that point, that's how investigations work. Investigations will tell us whether something is valid or not, whether something needs to be ruled out. It's not a mistake. It's just how investigations work. And our responsibility is to make sure that we conduct the proper investigations. When I saw you all earlier today, I'm very proud of the detective work that they do. Detectives that work throughout the night, as the General stated, we're here last night, making sure that we lift every rock, that we investigate everything we needed to investigate, because we're not in the business of putting people in jail that don't deserve to be. And so at this point, we'll continue to follow on every lead that comes our way. Our federal partners are on board. We'll be meeting again tomorrow with them and continue to do the work that we need to do to bring this person who's responsible to justice. And I'm proud to say that in the morning we'll be reuniting with the detectives. Just some of the detectives worked all night. They're still working as we speak, and we'll continue our investigations. So.
The investigation is ongoing. We continue to follow leads that have been developed over the last day and a half. And we're continuing to ask for help. One of the things that Providence Police will be doing, and we should let our neighbors know, is that we are searching for additional video evidence. And so neighbors in the area of Brown University should expect to see Providence Police in the neighborhood canvassing, looking for additional evidence, specifically looking for additional video evidence. And we are looking for additional video evidence. There's been several questions over the last day and a half about videos at Brown and in the building. The videos at Brown in the building have been examined, and at this time we have no additional actionable information from the video that has been reviewed from the building. And so we are looking for new and additional video evidence, and neighbors in the community should expect to see Providence Police along with our partners, and we're again very grateful for the resources we've received from the state police because of the governor's support and our federal partners, but that is one piece of additional evidence and a way in which this community can help. If you have a camera and you are nearby, the video that was released was the corner of Hope and Waterman Streets. And if you are in that area and you have video, you have home video, Ring camera, security camera, you're a small business owner, please reach out to us. Call that number, 401-272-3121, or if you can upload the video itself, you can do so at fbi.gov/Brown University shooting.
Yeah, so it was there was a tip that came in, just like we were taking any other tips, and that one came in specifically identifying a person of interest, which was this individual. And so our detectives got on it, just like they got on others, but in this specific one, it was actually picked up by the FBI, and they followed through with it, and they ended up coming and locating this individual of interest, and at that point, we did our thorough investigation, examined, ended up drafting some search warrants, came up with some evidence, but that evidence was examined, and we didn't have enough, obviously, to be able to prosecute anybody, and so the person was released. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, Pat, what the case law tells us is that we can detain someone for a reasonable period of time if there is evidence such that points to that person being involved in criminal activity. And so, evidence doesn't appear on your doorstep and you have answers to it within the first 15 minutes. So let me just paint what I hope will be a clear picture. There's obviously evidence at the scene. That evidence at the scene may link to a particular individual. So when you have a person of interest, you try to link the evidence at the scene to that person of interest. Well, that takes time. That requires testing. Some of that lab testing can take an entire day. So over the course of the day, while we're following up leads elsewhere, those initial leads may come back positive or may come back negative. Here they came back negative, so we're in a position where we are now going to release that person of interest. But that's the way these investigations work. This isn't. Well, look, Pat. I'm not going to get into exonerating people in writing or orally or otherwise. There was a quantum of evidence. There was a quantum of evidence which justified detaining this person as a person of interest. We continue to do our job. We're going to keep doing that. There may be other persons of interest. Hopefully they will be in custody or detention very soon. Listen, I am not going to, and I can't imagine the chief would either, is to lay out directly what evidence is at the scene. But what I'm telling you is at any crime scene, there is evidence that links the perpetrator to the crime. When you have a person of interest, you try to link them to that particular evidence.
So you get a sense there of what they are working through right now. They keep saying they need to find more evidence, and they are pointing to the scene. They're looking through all of that, anything they can get their hands and eyes on. They're looking for people who may have been in the area, may have had phones, any of that, to be able to get a clearer picture of what happened, when it happened, how it happened, and most importantly, who did it. They explained there why they could not keep the person in custody who they had detained, longer than a certain period of time. They did not have the evidence to connect that person to what took place. You heard them also say that it is a shame that that person's information had been leaked out to social media, because now you're looking at a scenario, Sarah, we know once something gets out there, especially on social media, it is hard to put that back into the bottle. But alas, the person that they had who was detained in their custody, they have since released. That took place already. I believe when this was taking place, that was on the verge of happening. It has now happened. That person not believed to be in connection in the way in which they thought, or in connection to what took place. Okay, so they are still looking for whoever did this. Now, when it comes to those who were killed, again, there were 2 people who we know and so far who have died. There are several others, 9 who are injured. I want to point to a post made by our Lieutenant Governor-elect here in Virginia, Ghazala Hashmi. She posted to Facebook earlier today. Let me see if I can get into it now, giving us some insight that it appears there is a Virginia connection to this particular case in which she wrote on her Facebook account. Once exactly our scan PC comes in, I will read this post for you and show it to you as well. Here is the Lieutenant Governor-elect here in Virginia, Senator Ghazala Hashmi. She says, "I'm heartbroken to learn that one of the students who died in the horrific campus shootings at Brown University in Rhode Island is one of our own, a freshman who graduated just a few months ago from Midlothian High School in Chesterfield. Such a profound tragedy for his family and our broader Midlothian community." She goes on to say, "I keep his family and all who loved this young man in my thoughts and in my prayers." So there is a direct connection here already to Virginia. And, even if there was not, I do believe every parent, every student who is tapped into situations like this, of course, feels it in some way, shape, or form as you see it happen on their campus. And again, although they do not believe that the threat is ongoing at the moment, it is still, you have to imagine, unsettling for people to know that the person who is responsible for this has still yet to be caught as of this morning. Sarah, I don't know if we had any other statements or things that we had right on hand about this. And if not, we can continue to push on and talk about a few other things, because we do have some other situations that we are monitoring. But I did want to bring that to our attention, that there is a Virginia connection, according to the Virginia governor-elect. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. All right, here we go. Okay, so we have a name. This just coming in. What time is it? 10:53. Okay, Governor Glenn Youngkin just posted this. So now we know the identity of not only the young man who died out of Midlothian High School, but also the other victim. This is Governor Glenn Youngkin here out of Virginia saying, "We are praying for the victims of the horrendous act of evil at Brown University. Ella Cook from Birmingham, Alabama, and Midlothian High School's own Muhammad Aziz, I'm going to say Umarshakov." It says that we lift up their families, friends, and communities in a prayer of comfort and peace. And you have to imagine that we're going to be learning more about these individuals, and just your heart goes out to their families and the communities who knew and loved them. Definitely for those in Midlothian High School, that surrounding area, in that Chesterfield region. I do believe that's about 20 or so minutes southwest, I do believe, of Richmond, the city of Richmond. And so I expect to probably will learn more about this young man, and who you have to imagine, if you went to Brown University, extremely bright. Brown being an Ivy League school, accepts the best of the best. And to hear that this freshman just leaving high school to, hopefully will learn what his dreams and the vision for his life was, and more about who this young man was. But to go to a place that you believe that you're going to be able to achieve that, and for it to be cut short in such a manner as gun violence, another school shooting on a university campus right before you would imagine winter break, the holiday season, no matter what holiday a person may or may not celebrate. Absolute tragedy. But this came in just before we started the stream, this update here. So good catch, Sarah, for bringing that up, that we do have the names there of the victims there at Brown University. And remember, those are the two who died, who were killed, and there still are about 9 others, at least, that we know of, who are injured and in the hospital after that shooting. So that is the latest update that we have at this moment. We're going to continue to dig through for the rest of the stream. If anything else pops up, of course, we'll try to bring that in, as this is all free flowing. We're getting this information in real time in some cases. But I did want to bring that up. Glad we were able to find that there, Sarah. And unfortunately, that is not the only tragic shooting that we are following here this morning. We're also following the tragic shooting that took place in Australia. But you know what? Before we get to that, Sarah, I think we do have breaking news that just came in. If I can bring this up, hold on one second. We just learned moments ago that the son of Rob Reiner, well-known actor and director, the son of Rob Reiner, is now in police custody in connection to the deaths of both Reiner and his wife. They were found dead in their Los Angeles home last night. Police had been looking for clues and to understand exactly what happened. At this point, what we know right now is that these are being investigated as homicides, and that the two were apparently stabbed to death inside of their homes in Brentwood, which is considered one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Nick Reiner, again, the son of Rob Reiner, who was 78 years old, is now in custody. Those charges have not been disclosed at this moment, according to the latest reporting that we're seeing from ABC. However, law enforcement sources have told them, again, ABC News, which is reporting this in the moment, that he has been booked on suspicion of murder. Nick Reiner is 32 years old, was taken into custody, being held on $4 million bail, according to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. A little bit about Rob Reiner. People know him from his work that has really transformed Hollywood in many cases. Some of the best stories that we've seen come out of the movie industry, including When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, A Few Good Men, This Is Spinal Tap. Even prior to that, he had his breakout role as Archie Bunker's son-in-law, Meathead, in All in the Family. And he is the son of Emmy and Grammy Award-winning actor and comedian Carl Reiner. And so a lot of people have been pouring in tributes for this tragedy that has taken place. It has certainly hit the entertainment industry very hard, but it's beyond that. Former President Barack Obama issued a statement earlier today. We're also seeing tributes pouring in from John Cusack, who played in Stand By Me, and also The Sure Thing, which I do believe Reiner also had a role in as well. Kathy Bates has been pouring in tributes also, as people are talking about him, his impact, and what they have done. Again, Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer, they were both found dead yesterday in their home, and now we are getting the breaking news that his son, Nick Reiner, has been placed in police custody in connection to this particular death, which, if I'm seeing here correctly, the apparent homicides happened yesterday. At least they were called to the home yesterday afternoon in Los Angeles. So it was 3:40, I believe, Pacific time. So roughly around 7 or 7:40 or so, I believe, our time here on the East Coast, where they were found there. Reiner was 78 years old. His wife, Michelle Singer, 68 years old. It was a tough weekend, a very, very tough weekend. These two had been married since 1989. They share 3 children, so 2 others outside of Nick. And man, okay. So just looking for any new information that we're getting here, because again, we just got that. I was looking up on Twitter to see if there were any other words that were shared. Governor Gavin Newsom of California released a statement saying that he was heartbroken by the loss. Here's his exact quote. He says, his boundless empathy, speaking of Reiner, made his stories timeless, teaching generations how to see goodness and righteousness in others and encouraging us to dream bigger. Rob will be remembered for his remarkable filmography and for his extraordinary contribution to humanity. And, again, if you think about those films that he is in large part responsible for directing, The Princess Bride, Sarah, that is, a classic amongst many people, just like When Harry Met Sally. When you think about movies that people consider timeless and that you can put on at any moment, A Few Good Men, right? The quotes that you can get from that movie alone. So many things that he has been able to contribute in entertainment history, but really cultural history, American culture. When you think about pop culture, the way in which he's been interwoven through all of that, and for this to be the ending of his life and his wife's life, certainly you don't want to see. I don't know, Sarah, if we're seeing any new information about that, but I do believe that is the latest. Again, we just got that information in during the stream that Rob Reiner's son, Nick, has been placed in custody in connection to an apparent homicide of both Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer, in their home in Los Angeles yesterday. Tragic situation that is happening there. Okay, I am seeing something that was put up now, Sarah. I'm just going to read this before we get into what took place in Australia as well. President Trump has apparently also said some words via Truth Social. I'm going to read it here real quick. Interesting statements that I'm sure are going to have some people asking questions, but it says, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as the Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. That was written on the president's Truth Social account here that I am reading in the moment. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. And he ends it with, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace, posted at 9:51 this morning on Truth Social. I'm sure the Reiner family will read that and probably not appreciate it as much as there will be many other people who support the Reiners and maybe in Hollywood who may not appreciate those words from the president as well. But did see that, thought it was interesting, and wanted to bring that forward. Again, that post less than 24 hours after the discovery of Rob Reiner and his wife dead inside their home, and now their son apparently in custody in connection to their deaths. And so those are the words as you see there of our president. So we will move on from that, and we will talk about what is transpiring now across the pond or in Australia. Again, a lot of things happening over the weekend, and unfortunately tragedy after tragedy along with it. And this no different as two gunmen opened fire in Australia at Bondi Beach in Sydney on Sunday during a Jewish festival of Hanukkah there, targeting people who were in the crowd. 15 people were killed, and at least 40 people have been injured during this event that took place. Again, two suspected gunmen. Right now, the reports are it was a 50-year-old father and a 24-year-old son that carried out this terrible, terrific act. According to police there in Sydney, the father was killed during the attack while the son is now in the hospital. Injuries unspecified, but being treated in the hospital at the moment. We also know that the son is an Australian-born citizen, while the father arrived in 1988 on a student visa. Police were able to collect 6 firearms from the scene. The video that was captured has been circulating on social media. There are several accounts showing moments of people filming with their phones and others, these two apparent gunmen firing from atop of some former bridge down at people who were in the crowds at the moment. Police say that they recovered 6 firearms from that scene. The father allegedly had a gun license and 6 licensed firearms. If you see the video that has been kind of circulating on certain news outlets, social media, clearly they had some forms of long type of guns, long kind of rifles that they were using during this. 2 improvised explosive devices were also discovered at the scene. They were removed by a bomb disposal unit. The Australian Prime Minister right now, because of this event, which has absolutely devastated communities across the world. Again, opening night of Hanukkah, right, which is the celebration of lights for the Jewish community and all who respect, support, and love those within the Jewish community. It is a day in which we celebrate the light that overtakes everything, right? Overtakes darkness. And here you have this heinous act that takes place as you're looking at the memorial of people who are coming in and spreading their love, and they're paying their respects for all of the victims in that attack in Australia. You see it there. The Australian Prime Minister, again, is now calling on the National Cabinet to tighten gun laws, including limiting the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals, and whether or not gun licenses should be reviewed after a period of time. That is the legislative side of things that could be taking place very soon because of this. Now, Sarah, I do believe we have sound from one of the lawmakers there in that area. This is New South Wales Premier Chris Minns speaking on tougher gun laws. Let's see if we can listen to what he had to say. And again, there could be acting fairly quickly here after this particular act.
Clearly, New South Wales has a checkered recent history with people with gun licenses committing criminal acts. Doesn't our gun registry laws need to change? What can you do now to ensure this doesn't happen again?
I mean, the short answer is yes. They need to change, and they can change. It does require legislation, and it means introducing a bill to Parliament to be really blunt, make it more difficult to get these horrifying weapons that have no practical use in our community. If you're not a farmer, if you're not involved in agriculture, why do you need these massive weapons that put the public in danger and make life dangerous and difficult for New South Wales Police? So I understand, of course I understand, the genuine desire to have information about how the law will change. We're less than 24 hours into this horrifying crime. I want to make sure that legislation and reform that we bring to Parliament makes a big difference, but that's exactly my intention, and my colleagues feel exactly the same way.
Pope Leo speaking about this, saying, "Let us pray together for all those who suffer due to war and violence. Today, I particularly wish to entrust to the Lord the victims of the terrorist massacre carried on yesterday in Sydney against the Jewish community. Enough with this anti-Semitic violence. Let us eliminate hatred from our hearts." That coming from Pope Leo. Here in Virginia, we had a response from Governor Glenn Youngkin as well, who spoke, and let me go ahead and bring that up, in which he basically, again, also called out the violence, the tragedy against the Jewish community, and said that he was working with those here in Virginia and law enforcement and a task force to make sure that everyone had what they needed in order to feel secure and to feel safe, and just to make sure that they are monitoring anything. And if there is any situation in which you believe that there is of concern for some form of anti-Semitic violence or threat, The administration is calling for you not only to talk with local law enforcement, but also to reach out to them as well to make sure that people know that they are standing by and standing with the community. Here is that statement there. Again, the governor saying he and his wife devastated by the vicious terror attack in Australia, calling it vile, evil, anti-Semitic act of terror, which must be met with swift justice. You can see there, as we saw in the video, there is an outpouring of support for victims and families who were affected by this. And he says also he is understanding of any concerns that are here for safety in the Commonwealth. And so that's where he gets into, as I told you there, they're working with state and local officials to make sure that they're engaging with Jewish community leaders to give them the support that they need just in case there is anything that they deem as being some form of threat potentially there within this community. But it really did, Sarah, I keep saying it was a tough weekend to digest. And when you think about, again, Hanukkah, which is supposed to be this moment of joy, and it still is. You know, we had celebrations here in Virginia. I can think of one that we showed in Virginia Beach. Showed on Daybreak that came out of Virginia Beach, and that was the soundbite that was chosen with the organizer saying that they are going to continue to show the light, to make sure that the light overcasts any type of darkness that could be trying to interfere with this celebration, to show the strength and the love and the joy that Jewish people have in the way in which they are such a valued and important part of our communities. And so we just wanted to get an update into that, share some of the comments that have been made, including, as we told you, from the Pope, again, who says he is calling on everyone to pray together for those who are suffering through to this, and saying that we need to eliminate hatred from our hearts. Enough with this anti-Semitic violence. Again, that's coming from Pope Leo. Speaking of the Pope, I know this is a shifting of the gears, but I wanted to take you to something that is happening live right now in the spirit of the holidays. Right now, the Vatican is doing its Christmas tree lighting and its nativity scene unveiling. And so we're going to go ahead and take that for a little bit at the moment because it is happening right now. And again, we just heard those words from the Pope. But let's listen in for this for a little bit. Again, as we get the holiday season undergoing, an example here of communities that are trying to make sure that light and positivity and joy and all of those things can be so much larger than any of the darkness that we're facing in the world. Let's take a listen.
Monfiornappa, gratitudine per le menti, i cuori e le mani delle ditte e maestranze, professionisti, operai, artigiani ed artisti che hanno realizzato il nostro progetto firmato dall'architetto Angelo Santitoro. E un grazie a tutti gli appassionati comunicatori della speranza che fanno circolare le immagini e le parole per le vie del mondo, assetato di speranza. Grazie alla nostra Chiesa diocesana, variegata nelle sue vocazioni, a cominciare dal presbiterio, al suo primo vescovo e patrono San Prisco, al popolo, istituzione e ai sindaci, che con entusiasmo hanno risposto alla chiamata del vescovo per vivere e far vivere al territorio i giorni dello stupore e della meraviglia. E un pensiero grato, permettetemi, per tante altre mani e tanti altri cuori e per tutti coloro che già oltre la siepe stasera si affacciano dalla porta del cielo per ammirare questo spettacolo stupendo. Il presepe, radicato nei nostri cuori alla scuola di Sant'Alfonso Maria dei Liquori, è icona realistica di un popolo che nella ricchezza dell'arte, delle tradizioni, dei canti, dei suoi santi, beati e servi, si dirige verso quella grotta dove il cielo è sceso in terra e vi ha messo radici. È admirabile signum ogni presepe, diremo con Papa Francesco, con il quale è iniziato questo sogno, dove ognuno riscopre la sua dignità e il suo posto per costruire insieme, nella fatica e nella gioia dei giorni, la civiltà della speranza. Mi sovviene alla mente in questo momento un'opera teatrale della cultura napoletana, Natale in casa Cupiello, di Edoardo De Filippo. In casa Cupiello, come in ogni famiglia, si addensano i problemi, le nubi, le fatiche quotidiane, ma Don Luca, come se niente fosse, continua a fare il presepe, regalandoci una stupenda lezione di saggezza e di speranza. Sì, anche noi, nonostante le voci contrarie, nonostante il vento di una cultura che ci ha rubato l'anima, continuiamo ad allestire il presepe, non per distrarci o estraniarci dalle tempeste del mondo e della vita, non per un semplice gusto estetico, ma per offrire a tutti, specialmente.
Okay, that is the Vatican's Christmas tree lighting that is going on right now. I wish I could tell you exactly what is happening in the moment, but I do not speak. I think that would be Italian or it would be Latin. I do not know in the moment. I will work on that. I'll become better. I'll become more proficient. Maybe if there's a bit of Spanish or some Greek in there, I would have been able to see something. I don't know, but just a little bit. I can't speak it, but I had to study it when I was in seminary. So Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. So I did have to study those. But that's another life, another time. Not about me at all. You know, that's a long time ago. But one thing we do want to bring back in, we got meteorologist Taylor Stephenson in now.
Yeah.
She was just speaking. I didn't even get a chance to introduce her. She
No,
just
it's
came
okay.
right
And well,
into
it's
it.
okay. I have Greek tattoo on my wrist. That's why I asked.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
this is Greek. So I was just wondering. I was like, I didn't know you knew a little bit of Greek.
Okay, so are you concerned that I'll be able to know what it says, or is that
No,
something you have
it's a positive affirmation.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to call you blow your spot.
We're gonna see if you can read it later on.
Okay, we'll probably not. We'll see though. It's been a while. But Taylor, we had Craig in earlier in the stream, and we were talking about this bitter cold that we're experiencing today. And it's so crazy because behind you is just a beautiful live picture
It's gorgeous.
of the Virginia Beach ocean front, and you see the birds that are flying around, and the camera really makes it look something good. But if you go to the beach today, I do believe you will regret it. It is so cold and probably even windier down there by the water.
Oh, for sure. Even yesterday, we had a wind advisory in effect for specifically Virginia Beach, the Eastern Shore, the Outer Banks, where wind gusts were up to 50 miles per hour. So right now, as we get into our look of around the area, you can see that temperatures at the moment are sitting in the upper 20s. But you add on the fact we have a wind chill, and it feels more like 18 degrees now here in Norfolk. So it's an improvement for sure from our cold weather advisory you had this morning, where it feels like temperatures were in the single digits, feeling more like 4, 5, 6 degrees outside. So it feels better. I will say I got to work around 9:30, and I was wearing obviously multiple layers. I mean, I had the puffer jacket, the puffer. I had multiple leggings on. I have thick socks, boots, so I didn't really feel that big, that big plunge in temperatures. But I talked to Craig earlier, and he said today is one of those days where he really had to bundle up. I mean, it was brutal cold walking into work. And I'm sure, Eugene, you can attest to that because, I don't know what time you got in today, but even this morning, definitely a cold start. For me, my tire was flat because of the cold air we had this morning. And this is a reminder to those who may see their tires being a little flat. Do not go and put more air in that tire. The friction of your tire rubbing against the ground will actually allow for that air to heat up, and the air will expand that tire later on. So please do not go and put excessive amounts of air in your tire every day, because there's air in there. It's just because it gets cold, it gets more compact, and that's why your tire does look flat in the morning. But you may run into some issues. That's why it's best to give your car an extra couple of minutes to warm up before you get out on the road. Right now, from satellite and radar, I'll show you what's happening here across the East Coast. We had a huge cold front that moved through here in Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. It brought us that big polar plunge for not only us here in the mid-Atlantic, but those cold weather advisories stretched all the way through the deep south, even up into the Midwest and the mid-section of the country. So you know it's cold when places like Chicago are underneath a cold weather advisory. You know it's cold at that point because they're used to the cold. They get snow all the time. They get cold weather all the time. So a cold weather advisory for them means the cold air was all the way through really the eastern half of the United States. Right now, as you see, satellite and radar for us is fairly quiet. We are underneath now cold high pressure. So we'll see a warm up today, but with the north winds still pulling in cooler air, temperatures will run about 10 degrees below normal in the middle 40s for highs today. So radar for us, again, sweeping quiet at the moment. And I'll take you through the next 3 days. If we can take this graphic full, that would be great. So as we go through the next few days, you'll see that temperatures start to warm up for us here in Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. Right now, temperature is sitting in the mid-20s, upper 20s, but that north wind is the reason why we are going to stay cool throughout the day. So getting into the afternoon, you'll see temperatures, I said 40s earlier, I meant 30s this afternoon. But highs at best, maybe a couple degrees above freezing here around the coast and around the peninsulas, maybe mid-30s there down in northeastern North Carolina, but still a very, very cold day for us, and still with a little bit of wind chill during the afternoon. Even though winds will start to taper off during the afternoon, we'll see the wind chill or the feels like temperature right around a 25, 28 degrees. So it will be a very cold afternoon for us here in Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. We're bracing for yet another cold night here. By about 11 o'clock to midnight, temperatures continue to plummet. So expect overnight temperatures in the 20s. In some places, inland may drop close to the teens before we warm back up tomorrow morning. We're back above freezing this time tomorrow, and then tomorrow afternoon after high pressure takes over, we're back into the 40s. But still, we should be somewhere around the mid-50s for afternoon high temperatures this time of year. And to give you perspective on where we've really sat in terms of temperatures over the course of December, it's been a very cold first half of the month. Today is December the 15th, and so we are basically halfway through the month already, and you can see that only 2 days in the past 14 days have either been at or above normal. Every single day outside of that, outside of December 2nd and this past Saturday, has been below average. And we're going to add today to below average temperatures. We're going to add tomorrow to below average temperatures. We finally, though, do get a bit of a warm up heading into the late week. And I'll show you our temperature trend that actually does take us now to, it should take us to Christmas Day. And the 10-day temperature trend will show that we are going to have this big rise in temperatures over the coming days. By the time we get to Thursday, we're going to be right near the lower 60s, which is actually above average for this time of year. So each and every day, we're rising easily 5 to 10 degrees. Today will be right near freezing. Tomorrow, mid-40s. Wednesday, mid-50s. Thursday, lower 60s. We do get a cold front that comes through during Thursday to Friday. That'll bring us a few showers. But the good news is that even though temperatures will drop briefly during the weekend, we should rebound back into those upper 50s by Sunday. And then Thursday, which I'll point out with my pointer here, Thursday right here, this is Christmas Day. And it shows that temperature should be somewhere around the lower 50s, maybe mid-50s. Even Christmas Eve feeling fairly comfortable for this time of year. So after what was a cold first half of the month, we should actually kind of level out during the second half of the month there. But I do want to show you also the chances of us seeing some of that wet weather on Thursday. Now, because temperatures will be so warm, I'm not expecting us to see any winter weather with this, but I'll take you through the next few days in terms of rain chances. So here's Monday, and we're staying dry. Tuesday afternoon, that's tomorrow, staying dry. As we get into Wednesday afternoon, cloudier, but still dry. This is Wednesday evening now. Thursday, you kind of see the rain starting up late. This is right around 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursday. And then the showers start to return. It becomes a little bit more widespread early Friday morning. But again, remember, temperatures are going to be well above freezing that we shouldn't see any type of winter weather with this, just some rain. And then by the time we get into Friday afternoon, most of that rain's out. And we should clear out heading into the weekend, even though it will be slightly cooler. So overall, not a terrible pattern we're in here in Hampton Roads, especially knowing that our cold air is not going to stick around long. But, I mean, at this point in the day, even if you're thinking about maybe going out for lunch, grabbing something quick to eat, it's going to be a very cool afternoon with feels like temperatures at best in those mid to upper 20s.
You know, you heard me because I didn't turn my mic off with a series of mms, and I feel like that's all I've been doing all day long. When I walked outside my door this morning, Taylor, around 3 o'clock actually is when you were talking about, I don't know what time. Man, Taylor, I knew. You guys, you've been telling us this. We knew this last week that it was going to be uncomfortably cold this morning.
Yeah.
You've been calling for the weather impact alert. We were asking, why are we doing a weather impact alert? For it being cold. And then I walked out today and I felt why. And you talked about tire pressure. I'm glad because my indicator came on too this morning. But also Sarah and I were talking about how, our engines did that little,
yeah,
like it
little crank. Yeah.
It needed the stretch too this morning before we started, and it gave me that little starter. What am I thinking about? What am I thinking about?
My car was
stutter.
just so loud. And I've been having issues
Oh,
with
wow.
my car lately too. So when I heard that, I was like, please, please, please start. And when I was driving, it felt different too.
Yeah.
At least for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that's why they say typically, at least when I was in the Midwest, a lot of people have the self-starters because for, 5 to 6 months out of the year, you're going to be experiencing some pretty low temps, and at least for 4 out of those is really low at some point. And so they don't have the self-starter, so your car can just be running. I never adopted that model. My girl is, I got to be in it to win it, turn it on.
Yeah.
But with it being so early at the time that we get in and out, I never want to I just don't feel like sitting. So it's like turn it on and we're going to have to get it together, girl. We got to get on out of here. So, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who experienced that today. But that was actually, I'm glad that you mentioned that for folks because that's the first thought when their tire pressure is low, to try to put some air in it, not understanding the science behind it all.
Right. And I mean, I was that person too. I made sure to put some extra air in my tire. But then when I saw it flat again this morning, I was like, it's not the tire. It is the air. So I was like, no more air in this tire because you don't want them to pop. So, just give yourself extra time. But thankfully, again, we're not going to be in this cold pattern too much longer. We will have, again, a cold night. Temperatures back in the 20s overnight. So another hard freeze. But at least as we get into the rest of the week, we're back in the 60s. Very, very welcome for me because I'm getting a little worried for this winter. We've already started off on a very, very cold note. We've had flurries 3 times in the past week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm a little concerned for how cold it may be later on this winter.
We had some frozen precipitation yesterday morning. I was leaving from church and I had some little, I don't even know what you call it, little pellets. It wasn't hail.
It's grapple.
Grapple. Who named that?
Not me.
You got
snow, meteorology is a very old science.
Snow, hail, rain, sleet, and grapple. Something that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
We need to take that back to the drawing board. But
here in downtown Norfolk, when I was at work, it was all flurries. So it was all snow, but nothing really stuck. So
No. It was more of a nuisance if you really asked me yesterday, if anything. But, okay, again, we've been telling people about the cold temps. This is why. It's 11:30 now. Now, Craig had told us earlier that there would be a evaluation on whether or not we will continue the weather impact alert beyond noon. Is it still looking like things are going to get to a place where we'll kind of take that banner off for the rest of the day?
Oh, I'm taking the banner off for the rest of the day. I mean, it's just going to be a cold day. I think my concern was that we had feels like temperatures in the single digits, and pipes would be frozen. And also we had some delays of school and all of that. That kind of fed into the weather impact alert. Most people are out and about already. So I don't see the need for continuing the weather impact alert. So I've stopped it. It will not run through noon. And for the rest of the day, it's just going to be a cold day. And you have to get used to that. I mean, winter starts on Sunday. So specifically Sunday morning.
It's not even winter yet.
It's not even winter. We're in the very last days of technically calendar or astronomical fall, even though meteorological winter started on December the 1st. But we're in the very last days of what most people recognize as fall. But for me, it's just something we have to get used to. Cold temperatures come during the winter time. So weather impact alert has been not canceled, but just it just ended. So.
Okay. Well, that is good to know for people. And again, it really was always about making sure people had what they needed to know to stay safe out here, right?
And if you're not bundled up by now, you've definitely missed the memo. And it's most of the winter, like the coldest temperatures are definitely gone for the rest of the day. But still bundle up for sure if you haven't left the house quite yet. But that was more for the people who were having to head to work, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, making sure that they knew that you really needed to have multiple layers today.
Yeah, what's that song? I'm remixing it a little bit. If you don't know it by now, you will never know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know. So I didn't want to sing it on air, but anyway.
No, I don't know.
Anyway, hopefully people are taking heed, and I assume the moment you step outside, you're not going to want to just sit out there, but definitely you want to layer up. I did want to bring out this as well. We were talking about shelters because there's a thing. There are people who unfortunately don't have the resources to be indoors, okay? And they're looking for places. If you come across somebody or you know somebody that you know and love that needs a place to stay, there are shelters that had already kind of kicked up their season. I know in Virginia Beach, you can go to the city's website, the City of Virginia Beach website, and it will list down their winter shelter program that actually started on November 26th. Okay, so people can check in for the overnight shelters as needed. Placement's not guaranteed for those shelters in Virginia Beach, but they are looking for people 18 and older in the city who are experiencing homelessness, who are without a home. This is from November until March. This is a part of the group of faith organizations that rotate to provide that overnight shelter and meals to people who are in the community. It's a partnership between Virginia Beach Housing and Neighborhood Prevention, the Penn Ministry, and again, the faith community as well. If you want more information about the program, if you're not able to look them up online, although I assume if you're watching us via stream, you probably have some form of internet access, but if you don't, if you're unable, here's the number for you to call. Again, this is in case you or somebody that you know might need some form of overnight shelter as these temperatures are low. Although we heard from Taylor that this is the lowest it's going to be for at least a few days or so, but we haven't even started winter yet. She just told us. So if you know someone who may need it or you yourself, here's the number to call as well, 757-962-3567. 757-962-3567. Okay, families who have children experiencing homelessness, the City of Virginia Beach says you should visit the Housing Resource Center, or you can call their hotline. That number is 757-227-5932. Again, 757-227-5932. Okay, that's for those who are in Virginia Beach, but I do believe across the region there are various organizations that are supporting people who are houseless, who need a place to stay. And we want to make sure that you can even find that information on our website for what we have, 13newsnow.com. We just want to make sure people have a place that they can put a roof over their head, particularly when the temperatures drop out like this.
Great resource.
Taylor, anything else that we should know, not just today, but in the coming days, and in order to kind of stay prepared? It didn't look like remind me again. I don't think I really saw major precipitation or anything taking place for the next few days either, right?
Thursday night into Friday morning,
Okay.
we'll see some widespread rain, but it's not going to be anything that we're not used to. Just expect a mild rain, no winter weather in this mix at all. So good news is not expecting any type of snow or grapple or sleet over the coming days. So just be aware that you will run into some rain on that Friday morning commute. Otherwise, we're fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, Taylor, we appreciate that. All right. Thank you so much for joining us in on the stream. Are you doing the noon?
I am.
All right. I'll let you go ahead and do your job. Do your thing. You can, stop having fun with us over on the stream and go do your job.
Okay,
you can
yes,
catch
sir.
Taylor on 13 News Now at noon. You can watch it here on 13 News Now Plus, or you can watch it over the air from our linear programming as she'll join Marta Berglund there in about just under 30 minutes or so. Let's do this, Sarah, just because it's live at the moment. I want to show people what I'm seeing as I have my tea mug in my hand here right now. This is our big board. For those who are new here, this is what we monitor along with our computers to look at all of our feeds across the country and here regionally and nationally. We're waiting for some form of announcement taking place, I do believe, with the Department of Justice there, but they are not appearing to be ready just yet. But meanwhile, we are seeing there the Vatican holding its ceremony currently right now for the Christmas tree lighting and nativity scene unveiling. You can see people that are there in their holiday best there as they are having that presentation in the moment, trying to bring that holiday cheer for an event that draws thousands of people, as you can see there for yourself. Let's do this, Sarah. Let's go back to it. Take it just for a little bit, see where they are with things. And on our side, we can kind of, you and I can chat about where we'll go right next after this. But let's go ahead and go to the moments in which we are waiting for the Christmas tree lighting there for the Vatican and the unveiling of their nativity scene.
Vento delle nostre Alpi, con radici profonde nella terra, retto, forte e allo stesso tempo umile, proprio come la gente della nostra terra. Questo albero è qui per raccontare la sua storia e per portare un pezzo dell'Alto Adige, Südtirol, a Roma. È un dono al Santo Padre e un segno della nostra gratitudine verso la terra, ma anche dell'impegno a tutelarla e rispettarla. Un sentito ringraziamento va inoltre a tutte le persone e alle istituzioni che
Okay, we're going to come out of that because this press conference is taking place right now. A joint terrorism task force is giving an update into an investigation. This is in California with our affiliate there, KABC, that is holding the press conference. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hear what is the update for this investigation.
Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. Over the weekend, my office, along with the FBI, arrested members of a far-left, anti-government domestic terror cell who self-identify as the Turtle Island Liberation Front. The individuals were arrested on Friday, December 12th, when the group attempted to construct and detonate IEDs out in the desert. In addition to the arrests, we executed several search warrants throughout the nation. I want to thank our partners at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Louisiana, U.S. Attorney Zach Keller, and the U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts, Lee Foley, for providing valuable assistance over the weekend with a very complex and coordinated search warrants that were done. The charges we are announcing today stem from the defendants and their co-conspirators' detailed, coordinated plot to bomb multiple U.S. companies on New Year's Eve. Thankfully, that plot has now been foiled thanks to the hard work of the FBI and the Department of Justice. This investigation was initiated in part due to the September 2025 executive order signed by President Trump to root out left-wing domestic terror organizations in our country, such as Antifa and other radical groups like the Turtle Island Liberation Front. As the President made clear, Recent attacks across the country have highlighted the grave threats posed by these far-left domestic terror groups. These threats are sophisticated, organized campaigns of targeted intimidation, radicalization, threats, and violence designed to silence opposing speech, limit political activity, and direct policy outcomes and prevent the proper functioning of a democratic society. In direct response to the President's order, the Attorney General issued a memo to our offices implementing and mobilizing federal law enforcement to prioritize and counter domestic terrorism and political violence investigations. As a result of those directives, we built this case. Both my office and the FBI have invested substantial resources into investigating and charging these organizations. And if anyone does not believe that members of these groups are organized, sophisticated, and extremely violent, let me tell you about the plot in this case. The four defendants are Audrey Carroll, 30 years old. The pictures, I think we have them somewhere. We'll put them up here. Audrey Carroll, 30 years old. Zachary Aaron Page, 32. Dante Gaffield, 24. And Tina Lay, 41. Each from the Los Angeles area. Each is charged with conspiracy and possession of an unregistered destructive device in violation of Title 26, United States Code Section 5861D. We intend to file additional charges in the coming weeks as we finish reviewing the evidence. The defendants are all radical anti-government members of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, which, according to their own social media, is an anti-capitalist, anti-government movement that calls for their associates to rise up and fight back against capitalism. One of the leaders of the organization, defendant Audrey Carroll, helped organize an even more radical faction of the group called the Order of the Black Lotus. Each of the defendants charged today was also a member of the Order of the Black Lotus. Carroll described this group to her co-conspirators as everything radical. As detailed in the federal complaint, which we will now make public, in November 2025, defendant Carroll created a detailed bombing plot to use explosive devices to attack 5 or more locations across Southern California on this upcoming New Year's Eve. Carroll and her co-defendant, Zachary Page, led the effort to obtain and build the bombs and to recruit others to join in their plot. Carroll's bomb plot was explicit. It included a step-by-step instructions to build IEDs or improvised explosive devices and listed multiple targets across Orange County and Los Angeles. Carroll also made clear her desires. She said, quote, "What we are doing will be considered a terrorist act." Carroll and Page also discussed plans for follow-up attacks after their bombings, which included plans to target ICE agents and vehicles with pipe bombs. Carroll stated that those plans would, quote, "take some of them out and scare the rest." Throughout early December, the co-conspirators discussed their plans during an in-person meeting in Los Angeles and through an encrypted messaging application. As part of the plan, the 4 defendants plan to build test bombs in the Mojave Desert. You're going to hear more details about the bombs they intended to build and how the operation went down in the desert here shortly from the FBI Assistant Director in charge. In preparation for the plan, the co-conspirators purchased multiple pieces of bomb-making materials and discussed their travel plans to the desert. Last Friday, December 12th, the defendants took a significant step to carry out their plans. They traveled to the remote campsite, which you're going to see some video of, in the desert, and they began unloading their bomb-making materials to assemble and test the bombs. They had everything they needed to make an operational bomb at that location, and they were subsequently arrested by the FBI before they could build a functional explosive device. Shortly after the defendants were taken into custody, the FBI executed multiple search warrants, including at the defendants' Southern California residence and other locations throughout the country. I'll highlight some of the items found during those searches over the weekend. For example, in Carroll's residence, law enforcement found multiple posters and materials associated with Turtle Island Liberation Front, including posters stating, quote, "Death to America, long live Turtle Island and Palestine," and, quote, "Death to ICE, Turtle Island Liberation Front." In Page's residence, law enforcement found a copy of the detailed bomb attack plan. This case is another reminder about the dangers that radicalized Antifa-like groups pose to public safety and the rule of law. Through the tireless work of our prosecutors.
Okay, we got to come out of that right now because we do have breaking news out of Massachusetts. The jury has reached a verdict in the murder trial of Brian Walsh. That's the Massachusetts man charged with killing his wife and dismembering her body. This is taking place right now. We have a live feed that just went up. Let's see if we can take that. Again, a jury has reached a verdict in the murder trial of Brian Walsh.
Guilty of first degree is their verdict.
The verdict may be recorded. Please
Thank
be
you.
seated. So, jurors, I want to thank you for your service on this case. I know that it went a little bit more quickly than we were expecting, but your service has been substantial. We're in the third week of this trial, and I appreciate all you did to be obedient to those rules that I placed on you and for your conscientious service as jurors in this case. I will be back to meet with you privately in a moment. You should feel a weight lifting off of you right now because I'm releasing of you of those requirements. You can talk to anyone about this case or no one at all. You can do whatever research you wish to do about the case or none at all. You can go back on social media if you want, news media, and I'm supposed to release you from that burden of being open-minded. But I hope you always go through your lives with open hearts and open minds, new experiences and new people. I'll be back in just a minute to meet with all of you privately. Thank you very much, jurors.
Jurors exiting, all rise. Jurors, follow me, please.
When are we going to be in a position to have the victim impact statements and conduct the sentencing in this case?
Your Honor, I believe that we could do it as early as Wednesday of this week, but I believe if it's available to the court, we can also do Thursday or Friday.
I know that Friday is definitely not a good day for the court because I have other things scheduled. I anticipated the trial was going to be running, so I scheduled other things, although we could do it Friday morning. Does the defense have any preferences to the timing of the sentencing?
Your Honor, given the Commonwealth's recommendations, we'd actually request Wednesday at any point, if that's possible.
All right, I think it will be. I'll just, the only reason that I wouldn't do it on Wednesday is I do want the victim impact statements, regardless of the implications of the jury's verdict. It may have bearing on my sentencing on the other counts to which he pled guilty.
That's right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. All rise.
Matter is continued to December 17th at 9 a.m. for sentence and position.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Court stands in recess.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sue.
You just witnessed the moments in which a jury found Brian Walsh guilty of first-degree murder in the death of his wife, Anna Walsh. That murder dating back 3 years after her body was never found. And if you recall, in this particular case, there was a very interesting twist in that Brian had previously pleaded guilty to misleading police in his previous statements to them, saying that he told investigators his wife had been called to Washington, D.C. for a work emergency. And later, his defense came back and said, no, he panicked after finding his wife suddenly dead in bed. And so the question becomes, what has happened since then? What happened to her body after that? And investigators and prosecutors went through the process over the last 2.5 weeks in which we have followed this case and showed portions of it here on this stream, where they went through trying to present the evidence, trying to link, and now we see successfully, according to the jury, linking Brian Walsh to the murder of his wife. Again, he maintained that he did not kill his wife, who was a corporate real estate manager, the mother of their 3 children that they have together. But today, again, the jury reaching a conclusion in that case. They had started their deliberation last week, at the end of last week, opted to leave on Friday so they could go home for the weekend. They came back today, and you may have heard it there from the judge. Didn't take them long. This was not something that took them long to come up with some form of decision. Again, Brian Walsh, there out of Massachusetts, has now been found guilty by a jury of killing his wife nearly 3 years ago. Anna Walsh, last seen alive on New Year's Day in 2023. A major case out of Massachusetts that has garnered national attention, as well as people trying to figure out this case, where you have another one of these kind of no-body cases, Sarah, in which the body was not necessarily needed in order for him to be found guilty in this particular homicide investigation. Okay, so that is the latest out of there. Big news out of Massachusetts. I do want to go back to what is happening in Los Angeles. Again, we have this investigation by a joint terrorism task force. They were talking about a group they believe was attempting to detonate explosives in the desert somewhere there on the West Coast. We do know this is this footage is being brought to us by KABC, which is in Los Angeles. But let's go back to them right now. Again, this joint terrorism task force sharing the latest update into a new investigation.
It could cause harm to anybody in our community. To our community, I know hearing about these incidents like this can be unsettling, especially in the light of the recent Brown University mass shooting and the Sydney, Australia terrorist attack. But today serves as a powerful reminder that strong collaboration between federal, state, and local law enforcement can prevent violence before it occurs. As we enter the holiday season, a time when families and friends come together across traditions, cultures, and beliefs, this incident is a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and to be prepared at all times. Vigils whose goal is to divide us, to instill fear, and to target the very diversity that makes our country strong. I want to be very clear, what you see here, this investigative work and the follow-up that's been done shows that they will not succeed. Our community's diversity is our strength, and protecting every member of our community is our primary duty. Whether you are celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's, or simply gathering with loved ones, you deserve to feel safe. We are committed to ensuring that safety today and every day. We remain dedicated to protecting our entire community through ongoing intelligence gathering and threat assessments, strengthening partnerships across all of our agencies, engaging with the public to promote awareness, vigilance, and resilience. And finally, I encourage everyone to stay alert, trust your instincts, and report suspicious activity. And as we always say in law enforcement, if you see something, read something, or say something, your awareness, your eyes, and ears can help us protect the entire community as we did in this incident. I will now introduce the police chief of the Palm Springs Police Department, Andy Mills.
Well, good morning, and first of all, thank you so much, Assistant Director Davis, for the spectacular job that the FBI did on this case. We were just in a very supportive role, only making sure that the FBI had what they needed in the desert to execute their mission. But on a larger perspective, I just want our community to know that this gives me hope. It gives me hope because of the unified effort of all of law enforcement, from the Sheriff's Office to LAPD, San Bernardino Sheriffs, and the FBI, working together to make sure that people like this are removed from the community so they can be prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office, to make sure that all of us can live in peace. And this is what our mission is to make sure that there's hope in all of our communities. So thank you very much for the spectacular job that the A-team showed up and did.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that obviously there's some disagreements amongst our agencies over things like immigration enforcement, but when it comes to other areas of law enforcement where it matters to keep the public safe, whether that's protecting the girls on Figueroa Street or the Palm Springs investigation, there is no gap in the cooperation between the federal government and local government, and we do thank the sheriff, the police chiefs for your valuable assistance. It would be very difficult for us to do a lot of what we do without their assistance. So I do want to thank you, each and every one of you. With that, we'll open it up to a few questions. Oh, we're going to play the video. All right, play the video. And this is, the video is, do you want to describe the video?
Yeah, I'll describe the video. So, as I mentioned in my talking points, on December 12th, a group of individuals, again, members of this anti-government group, traveled out to the desert to test their explosive devices. They had precursor chemicals there, and they were going to create these bombs in the desert. What they are starting to do is put their chemicals and wares and the components out on the table there. This footage that you're watching is from our surveillance plane, and then what happened after this is the Los Angeles FBI SWAT team, along with the FBI's hostage rescue team, moved in and arrested all 4 subjects without incident.
So now we'll take some questions. Yeah, we're not naming the victim companies, but I'll generally describe them as logistics centers. You can think of like Amazon-type logistics centers, but we're not naming the specific companies at this time.
Can you elaborate on the locations?
There were at least 5 locations that they intended to target within Orange County and Los Angeles County. Again, we're not giving out the specific sites, but they were willing and wanting to do more if they could recruit more members to their radical efforts there.
You mentioned the arrest in New Orleans. Do you guys think that there are other people involved, or is there some other locations?
There are definitely more members to this group. As far as who was specifically involved in this New Year's Eve terror plot, we believe we've arrested all the members who were specifically involved in that particular plot. We did execute search warrants to people who are also part of this group. As we review that evidence, if we determine that there are any other individuals who knew about this or provided any assistance, we will obviously be charging them as well. Person arrested in Louisiana is not directly tied to this incident, but he is a member of this group. And when they executed the search warrant out there, he posed a great threat to the agents. He threatened the agents, and so that's why he's under arrest.
Do you believe what would have happened on New Year's Eve, or do you think there's any others that are still planning to go forward with something?
Well, obviously, the FBI has a very robust national security investigators. They look out for domestic terrorism as well as international terrorism. Do you want to talk more about your activities with the Joint Terrorism Task Force?
So this investigation is ongoing, as the United States just stated. Members of this group or associates of this group or any collaborators in this group, we are looking at as a result of this investigation. To answer your question, we do believe that we have disrupted this plot for New Year's Eve, but like I said, the investigation is ongoing.
Okay, you can see there they are still going in that press conference at the moment, and there are other things that are popping up on our radar right now that we just can't get to because we have now run out of time. It looks like the lighting there in the Vatican just took place in the moment. We have something going on now with Marco Rubio as well taking place in D.C. And, of course, we're getting updates from the latest jury verdict reached in that Brian Walsh trial. But that is all we have for now. You can continue to watch 13 News Now Plus for 13 News Now at noon with Marta Berglund. Then from 1 until 3, we'll have another Live Impact News with Connor Reel and Naya Campbell. If you're watching us on YouTube, download the app. 13 News Now Plus. We appreciate you for watching. I'll be back here along with Sarah tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Bye.